Today we are going to take a look at the serving sizes one needs to eat based on the Sri Lankan food-based dietary guidelines, right? So let's start with the carbohydrates or the starches. Ideally, what is recommended is 8 to 13 serving sizes per day, right? And here when you mean 8 to 13, 8 is for someone who is more sedentary and would require less calories, like who would be on a 1600 kilocalorie diet, would roughly be around 8 servings. Then for someone on a more vigorous physical activity level or more active lifestyle, would go for around 13 servings. This will depend on the person's age, gender, the physical activity status, and whether they want to maintain their weight or lose their weight or gain weight. Depending on that, the serving size will vary. What is important to know here is to identify your need. If you are cautious about what you are eating, if you know how much of servings of carbohydrates you are taking, you will be able to adjust it as you want. But what happens most often is we don't know how much what we are eating, and we might be over or under eating most of the time. What is the risk of under eating the carbs? The risk of under eating is every single cell in our body needs energy to function. Even when we are sleeping, we need to breathe, our heart needs to beat. When you eat something, digestion needs to happen. All these things, every cell, including your brain, needs to survive, to live, and for that we need energy, ATP. And the easiest source to get this from is carbohydrates. But we must not overeat this nor go beyond what we expend, like, based on our physical activity. If you are someone who is quite sedentary, then it's best to have a lower amount of carbohydrates. If you're very active, if you do a lot of sports, you need to replenish your stores before or after a practice session or a match or whatever the sport that you do, the vigorous physical activity that you do, right? Or even if it's hitting the gym, you need to replenish your stores. So always go for the healthy carbs. Best to go for whole wheats and the browns and the ones that are full of grains, rather than the white flours, right? So let's look at how much. Now that we know what is good to eat, let's look at how much is good to eat. Now, when you take rice, it is just half a cup of cooked rice that is equal to one serving. So if you're someone who eats 3 cups of rice, that there itself gives you 6 servings, right, for one meal. And if you're someone who eats rice all three meals of the day, and you're eating about 2 to 3 cups of rice per day, there itself you're taking almost 18 serving sizes of carbohydrates. And unless you're extremely physically active and doing a lot of vigorous activity, that is way too much, right? So same goes with string hoppers. It's 2 medium string hoppers is 1 serving. So that 20 string hoppers you served yourself, that gave you 10 servings of carbohydrates. You decide to eat 4 or 5 toasts in the morning for bread, 4 or 5 serving sizes of carbohydrates. So as you can see, it is a little bit more than what you actually thought. That looking at more foods, quarter of a large pittu is 1 serving, 1 hopper is 1 serving, only half of a roti, this is a roti around 9 centimeter diameter, only half of that is equal to 1 serving. So if you decide to eat 4 rotis, you will be eating around 8 servings of carbohydrates. 1 medium potato is 1 serving, 1 thosai is 1 serving, and when it comes to boiled sweet manioc and yams and all of that, half a cup will give you 1 serving. For the next few days or the next week, sort of try to keep a diary and be cautious about what you're eating. In your little phone or in a little notebook, note down the serving sizes and see how much of what you are eating, and then decide, okay, am I someone who needs to bring this down or bring this up? Take it slow, take it step by step. If you suddenly realize that you're eating about 20 servings of carbohydrates throughout the day. Don't suddenly decide, okay, I need to bring it down to 8, because that's going to be a bit of a jump, right? So we need to bring it down slowly. If you need any help in doing this, if you have any questions, do inbox me. I hope what I said here was clear.